Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defender and watched the stars through the main screen. The ship was quiet, except for the soft hum of engines. Jake had been in space for 10 years, but he still loved looking at the endless darkness filled with tiny lights. Today felt different, though. Something was wrong. The communication officer turned around in his chair. "Sir, we have an incoming message from Earth Command. Priority 1. Jake walked over to the main console. Priority 1 meant trouble. Big trouble. He pressed the accept button and waited. The screen flickered and showed Admiral Lisa Baker sitting at her desk on the orbital station above Earth. She looked tired and worried. "Commander Morrison," she said, "I need you to return to Earth immediately. We have a situation." "What kind of situation, Admiral? It's a kind that could end everything for humanity?" "I cannot say more on this channel. Get back here as fast as you can." The screen went dark. Jake stared at it for a moment. In all his years serving under Admiral Baker, he had never seen her look so scared. He turned to his crew, set course for Earth, maximum speed. The Defender turned and jumped into faster-than-light travel. Jake sat in his captain's chair and thought about the last 15 years. That was when humanity first met the aliens. The Galactic Council, they called themselves. 5 different alien races who ruled most of the galaxy. The Zephyrians were the smartest. They had technology that seemed like magic. The Korthok looked like giant lizards and loved to fight. The Vailani were very old and wise. They had been traveling between stars for thousands of years. The Nexari were strange. They shared one mind across millions of bodies. The Trilaxians were the diplomats. They did most of the talking for the Council. When the aliens first came to Earth, humanity was excited. Finally, they were not alone in the universe. The aliens seemed friendly enough. They invited Earth to join the Galactic Federation. They shared some technology and helped humans build better spaceships. But Jake always felt like humanity was treated like children. The aliens would smile and nod when humans spoke, but they never took them seriously. Human ships were small compared to alien vessels. Human weapons were basic. Human technology was primitive by galactic standards. The Defender arrived at Earth after 2 days of travel. Jake could see the blue and green planet growing larger on the screen. The orbital station looked tiny next to some of the alien ships that were often parked nearby. Today, Jake noticed there were no alien ships at all. That was unusual. Jake took a shuttle down to the station. Admiral Baker met him at the docking bay. She was a tall woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had been in the Space Navy longer than anyone Jake knew. "Walk with me," she said without greeting him. They walked through the corridors of the station. Other officers nodded as they passed, but nobody spoke. The station felt tense, like everyone was holding their breath. "The Council sent us a message yesterday," Admiral Baker said quietly. "They want us to surrender complete control of our military forces." Jake stopped walking. "What? Why?" "They claim we violated galactic peace treaties. Something about expanding into systems that belong to other races. It is nonsense, of course. We have been careful to follow all the rules." They entered Admiral Baker's office. She locked the door behind them and activated a privacy screen. Now nobody could listen to their conversation. "This is not really about territory," she said. "Captain Torres has been investigating. He thinks the Council has been planning this for years. They see us as a threat. A threat. Our ships are toys compared to theirs." Admiral Baker smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "That is what they think too. But some of them are getting nervous about how fast we learn and adapt. Humans are unpredictable. That scares them." She handed Jake a datapad. On it was the official message from the Galactic Council. Jake read it carefully. The language was polite, but the meaning was clear. "Submit or face the consequences." "How long do we have?" Jake asked. 72 hours from when they sent the message. That gives us about 40 hours left." Jake set down the datapad. "And if we refuse, they will send ships to force us to comply. Probably a big fleet to make sure we understand how serious they are." Jake had seen Council fleets before during training exercises. Even one of their ships could probably destroy every human vessel in space. A whole fleet would end the war before it started. "So what do we do?" he asked. Admiral Baker walked to the window that looked out at Earth. The planet looked peaceful from up here. Millions of people going about their daily lives not knowing that their freedom might end in less than 2 days. President Parker has authorized something called Operation Lazarus, she said. Never heard of it before, but apparently it has been classified at the highest levels for decades. What does it do? I do not know yet. But the president seemed confident when she told me to activate it. She said to wake them up. Admiral Baker turned back to Jake. I have a feeling we are about to learn some secrets about our own species. An alarm started beeping on her desk. Admiral Baker pressed a button to answer the call. Captain Ryan Torres appeared on the screen. He was Earth's best negotiator and had been trying to find a peaceful solution with the Council. Admiral, I have bad news, he said. The Council refused to negotiate. They say the deadline stands. Surrender in 40 hours or face appropriate consequences. Any idea what those consequences might be? Intelligence Officer Kate Sullivan has been monitoring Council communications. They are assembling a massive fleet. Hundreds of ships from all 5 races. This is not a police action, Admiral. This is an invasion force. Admiral Baker was quiet for a long moment. Then she made a decision that would change everything. Thank you, Captain. Continue monitoring, but do not make any more contact attempts. She ended the call and looked at Jake. It looks like Operation Lazarus is our only hope now. She pressed another button on her desk. This one was red and required her palm print to activate. A new voice answered immediately. Lazarus Command. This is Admiral Baker. Authorization code 77 Alpha 9. Wake them up. Understood, Admiral. Beginning activation sequence now. Estimated time to full operational status is 36 hours. The line went dead. Admiral Baker sat down heavily in her chair. Now we wait, she said, and hope that whatever we built in secret all those years ago is enough to save us. Jake looked out at Earth again. 36 hours, they would either be free or they would be slaves. He had no idea what Operation Lazarus was, but he hoped it was as powerful as Admiral Baker seemed to believe. The countdown to humanity's greatest test had begun. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, emergency lights began flashing in facilities that most people did not know existed. Chief Engineer Matt Crawford felt the vibration through the metal floor as massive systems came online for the first time in 20 years. He had been waiting for this moment his entire career, but now that it was happening, he felt nervous. The underground base was enormous. It stretched for miles beneath the ocean floor, hidden from satellites and alien sensors. Walked quickly through corridors that were wide enough for vehicles to drive through. The walls were made of a special metal that could not be detected by any known scanning technology. Crawford to all stations, he spoke into his communication device. Operation Lazarus is active. Begin awakening sequence for all vessels. Responses came back from dozens of teams scattered throughout the facility. Each team was responsible for bringing one of the sleeping giants back to life. Matt had helped design these ships when he was a young engineer, fresh out of university. That was before first contact with the aliens, before humanity knew they were not alone. Dr. Amy Foster was running through the corridors toward the command center. She was a scientist who studied alien technology, but she also knew secrets about human technology that very few people understood. Her security clearance was so high that even most generals did not know what she really did. She reached the command center and found Matt staring at a wall of screens. Each screen showed the status of a different ship. Green lights meant the ship was waking up properly. Red lights meant problems. So far, most of the lights were green. How many ships do we have down here? 47 major vessels, Matt replied, plus about 200 support craft. All of them built between 2157 and 2162, before the aliens found us. Amy nodded. She remembered those years. Humanity had just developed faster than light travel. They were exploring nearby star systems and finding evidence that other intelligent species existed. Old alien artifacts, abandoned space stations, signs that Earth was not alone in the galaxy. The smart people in government realized that first contact was inevitable. They also realized that the aliens might not be friendly. So they started a secret project to build warships that could defend Earth, if necessary. The project was called Lazarus because these ships would sleep until humanity needed them most. "How long until the first ship is ready?" Amy asked. "The UES Vengeance should be fully operational in 6 hours. She is our biggest ship, so we are bringing her up first." Amy felt excited and scared at the same time. The Vengeance was a monster. 3 miles long and packed with weapons that no alien had ever seen. It was designed by humans who studied warfare for thousands of years. Unlike alien ships that were built for efficiency and beauty, human ships were built for one purpose: to win battles. Colonel Steve Blake was in the hangar bay watching the Vengeance wake up.
Ow!
Steam poured from vents as the ship's systems came online. Lights flickered on along the hull, making the ship look like a sleeping dragon opening its eyes. Steve had trained his whole career to command one of these vessels, but he had never seen one fully active. The ship's hull was dark gray and covered with angles that would confuse enemy sensors. It did not look like the smooth, elegant alien ships that Steve had seen. It looked dangerous and aggressive. It's like it was designed by a species that understood war. A voice spoke from speakers around the hangar. "Vengeance artificial intelligence is now online. All systems are functioning normally. Ready for crew boarding." Steve walked up the ramp into the ship. The corridors inside were different from regular human ships. Everything was designed for combat. The walls had extra armor. The doorways could seal automatically if the ship was damaged. Even the lighting was red instead of white, so crew members could see better during battle. He reached the bridge and sat in the captain's chair. Immediately, screens came alive around him. The ship's computer began speaking in a female voice that sounded almost human. "Welcome aboard, Colonel Blake. I am Luna, the ship's artificial intelligence. I have been waiting 23 years, 4 months, and 16 days to serve with a human crew again. Lo Luna, what is our current status? All weapon systems are operational. Shields are at full power. Engine core is stable. The ship is ready for combat operations." Steve smiled. This was the moment he had trained for his entire life. Begin crew boarding procedures, contact all department heads, and have them report to the bridge. Throughout the underwater facility, other ships were waking up. Captain Nina Ross was boarding the UES Retribution, a heavy cruiser designed to fight multiple enemies at once. Commander, Alex Turner was preparing the UES Shadow, a stealth ship that could become invisible to most sensors. Each ship was crewed by volunteers, who had trained in secret for years. They were the best of the best, chosen for their skills and their ability to keep secrets. Most of their own families did not know what they really did for work. Admiral Baker arrived at the facility by submarine. She had never been to this place before, but she had known it existed. As she walked through the corridors, she was amazed by what she saw. Dozens of warships that were more advanced than anything in the regular human fleet. She met Matt Crawford in the command center. "How long until the fleet is ready to deploy?" 32 hours, Admiral. "We are bringing them up in groups so we do not overload the power systems." "And they can really fight the alien ships?" Matt smiled. "Admiral, these ships were designed by humans who learned warfare over thousands of years. The aliens achieved peace through technology. We achieved technology through warfare. There is a big difference." Dr. Amy Foster was studying the technical specifications of the Awakening fleet. Each ship used technology that was uniquely human. Instead of copying alien designs, human engineers had developed their own solutions to the problems of space combat. The weapons could penetrate alien shields because they worked on different principles. The engines could move in ways that alien ships could not predict. The armor was designed to absorb and redirect energy instead of just blocking it. Most importantly, the ships were commanded by artificial intelligences that had been taught by human military strategists. They understood tactics and deception in ways that alien computers did not. "These ships do not just level the playing field," Amy said to Matt. "They might actually give us an advantage." "That was the plan," Matt replied. "The people who built these ships knew that humanity might be outnumbered someday, so they made sure we would not be outfought." Admiral Baker looked at the screens showing ships coming online throughout the facility. Green lights were spreading across the status board as more vessels reached full operational status. In 30 hours, the Alien Council would arrive expecting to find a defeated humanity ready to surrender. Instead, they would find something that had not existed in the galaxy for a very long time. A species that was truly prepared for war. The sleeping giants were waking up, and they were hungry for battle. Fleet Admiral Zektar, of the Korthak, stood on the bridge of his flagship and watched the alien armada assemble in space. The sight filled him with pride. Over 3,000 ships from all 5 council races had gathered to teach humanity their place in the galaxy. The fleet was so large that it blocked out the stars. The Korthak ships were built for war. They looked like massive hammers made of metal, with thick armor and heavy weapons. Next to them floated the elegant Zephorian vessels, smooth and white like pearls. The ancient Valeni ships were mysterious and dark, covered in symbols that no other race could read. The Nexari brought their hive ships, each one housing thousands of connected minds. The Trilaxian diplomatic vessels were the smallest, but they carried the most advanced communication systems in the galaxy. Admiral, his communications officer, said, "We are receiving a message from the human fleet." Zektar laughed. The human fleet consisted of maybe 50 small ships. He had seen them during joint exercises. They were toys compared to council vessels. Put it on the main screen. Commander Jake Morrison appeared on the screen. He was standing on the bridge of the U.S. Defender, looking calm despite facing impossible odds. Behind him, Zektar could see other human officers working at their stations. Fleet Admiral Zektar Jake said formally, "I am authorized to begin surrender negotiations on behalf of Earth and all human colonies." "There will be no negotiations," Zektar replied. "You will power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Your military forces will be dissolved, and your leaders will be taken into custody for their crimes against galactic peace." Jake nodded slowly. "I understand your position, Admiral. However, I need time to contact Earth Command and arrange for the transfer of authority. Military protocols must be followed." Zektar felt annoyed. Even in defeat, humans wanted to follow their silly rules and procedures. "You have 1 hour," he said. "After that, we will take your ships by force." The screen went dark. Zektar turned to his tactical officer. "Deploy the fleet in attack formation. Surround their pathetic ships. When the hour is up, we will show them what real power looks like." The massive alien fleet began to move. The smaller human ships looked like insects next to the giant council vessels. Some of the alien ships were the size of cities. Their weapons could destroy entire planets if necessary. On the U.S. Defender, Jake watched the alien fleet surround them. His crew was tense, but disciplined. They knew their job was to buy time and look helpless. It was not easy to appear weak when every instinct told them to fight. "Sir," his sensor officer said quietly, "I am detecting movement in the outer system. Something big is coming." Jake smiled for the first time in days. "Right on schedule. Signal all ships. Begin Phase 2, the depths of space beyond Neptune." The human fleet that time forgot was moving toward Earth. Colonel Steve Blake stood on the bridge of the UES Vengeance and watched his sensors show the massive alien armada. The ship's AI Luna was analyzing the enemy fleet and calculating attack vectors. "Luna, what do you think of their formation?" Steve asked. "It is designed to intimidate rather than fight," Luna replied. "They've positioned their largest ships in front to look impressive, but their smaller support vessels are poorly protected. They are not expecting a real battle." Captain Nina Ross was commanding the UES Retribution from her position on the fleet's left flank. Her ship was loaded with weapons that could punch through alien shields like they were made of paper. She had been waiting 20 years for this moment. "All ships," she said over the fleet communication system, "maintain stealth mode until we reach attack position. Let them think they are facing the same old human fleet they have always seen." Commander Alex Turner was piloting the UES Shadow through the outer edges of the system. The ship was invisible to alien sensors, gathering intelligence on enemy positions. What he saw made him smile. The aliens had spread their fleet too thin. trying to look impressive instead of staying tactically sound. "Shadow to Fleet Command," he reported. "Enemy formation is full of holes. I count at least 12 ways to break through their lines. They are not taking us seriously." Admiral Baker was aboard the flagship U.S. Dominion, watching everything unfold. On the tactical display, the alien fleet was massive, but it was positioned like they were attending a parade instead of preparing for battle. Their commanders were so confident that they had made basic mistakes. "All ships," she announced. "This is Admiral Baker. For 25 years, we have been treated like children by the Galactic Council. They thought we were too primitive to be a real threat. Today, we show them what humans can do when we are underestimated." Back near Earth, Fleet Admiral Zektar was growing impatient. The human ships were still in their defensive positions, but they were transmitting constantly with Earth. He decided to end this charade. "All ships, prepare to fire warning shots," he ordered. "Target their engines. We will disable them and take them prisoner." That was when his sensor officer made a sound of confusion. "Admiral, I am detecting new contacts throughout the system." Multiple large signatures approaching from different vectors. "What kind of contacts?" "Unknown configuration, sir." "They do not match any ships in our database." Zektar felt the first touch of worry. "How many ships?" "Difficult to say, Admiral. At least 50 major vessels, plus numerous smaller craft. They are using some kind of stealth technology that is interfering with our sensors." The main screen flickered and changed. Instead of showing the human ships they had surrounded, it now displayed something that made Zektar's blood turn cold. A massive human warship was approaching from the direction of Jupiter. It was bigger than anything in the human fleet they had seen before. Its hull was dark and angular, covered with weapons that looked alien, yet somehow familiar. "This is Colonel Steve Blake of the United Earthship Vengeance," a human voice said over the communication system. "You are trespassing in human space. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." More ships appeared on sensors throughout the system. They seemed to materialize out of nowhere, surrounding the alien fleet from all directions. These were not the small, simple human vessels that the Council knew about. These were warships built for destruction. Captain Nina Ross brought the UES Retribution out of stealth mode directly above the alien flagship. Her ship's weapons were already locked onto critical systems of Zektar's vessel. "Admiral," her voice came over the communication system, "you have 30 seconds to begin withdrawing your fleet. After that, we will consider you hostile invaders and respond accordingly." Zektar stared at the tactical display in disbelief. The human fleet that had appeared was not just larger than expected. The ships were designed in ways that made no sense according to galactic engineering principles. They moved like living things instead of machines. Their weapons were pointed at critical targets with precision that should have been impossible. "Sir," his tactical officer said in a shaking voice, "these ships are targeting our command centers, weapon systems, and engines simultaneously. They know exactly where to hit us to cause maximum damage." Commander Alex Turner's voice came over the open channel. "Council fleet, you are now surrounded by 47 human warships and 200 support craft. Our weapons are locked onto your critical systems. Any attempt to fire on human vessels will result in the immediate destruction of your flagship." Dr. Amy Foster was monitoring the alien communications from the UES Dominion.
"Oh, yes."
She could hear panic in their voices as they tried to understand what was happening. Their sensors could not properly analyze the human ships because they were built using completely different technology. "Admiral Baker," she reported, "the alien fleet is in complete confusion. Cannot figure out how our ships work or where they came from. Some of their commanders are requesting permission to retreat." Admiral Baker opened a channel to the entire alien fleet. "Council forces, this is Admiral Lisa Baker of the United Earth Navy. You came here expecting to find a weak species ready to surrender. Instead, you have found a species that has been preparing for this moment for 25 years. We do not want war, but we are ready for it if you force our hand." Fleet Admiral Zektar realized that everything had changed. The humans were not the primitive species the Council thought they were. They had been hiding their true capabilities. All along, waiting for the right moment to reveal them. The hunter had become the hunted.
Oh.
And the galaxy would never be the same. Fleet Admiral Zektar stared at his tactical display as more human ships appeared throughout the system. His mighty fleet was now completely surrounded by vessels that should not exist. The humans had somehow hidden an entire war fleet for decades, without the Council knowing about it. "Sir," his communications officer said nervously, "we are receiving emergency transmissions from all Council member worlds. They want immediate reports on the situation." Zektar felt his career crumbling around him. He had assured the Council that humanity was weak and primitive. Now he was facing a fleet that his sensors could barely understand. The human ships moved in patterns that defied conventional space tactics. Their weapon systems were completely unknown. "Send a message to the High Council," he ordered. "Tell them we have encountered unexpected resistance. Request immediate reinforcements." On the bridge of the UES Dominion, Admiral Baker watched the alien fleet's confusion with satisfaction. The Council ships were trying to reorganize their formation, but every move they made was anticipated by the human fleet. It was like watching a chess master play against a child. Captain Ryan Torres had arrived on the flagship to handle diplomatic communications. He was humanity's best negotiator, and now he had the strongest position any human diplomat had ever held. "Admiral," he said, "I think it is time to make our position clear to the Council." Admiral Baker nodded. "Open a channel to all Council worlds. I want their leaders to see this." Within minutes, the communication screens showed the faces of the 5 Council leaders. High Counselor Velahan of the Zephyrians looked shocked. War Chief Grokamar of the Korthok was angry. Elder Morden of the Ancient Velani seemed thoughtful. The Nexari Queen spoke for her hive mind in a buzzing voice. Chancellor Diplon of the Trilaxians appeared frightened. "Council members," Captain Torres began formally, "humanity wishes to renegotiate our position in the Galactic Federation. You can see the balance of power has changed significantly." High Counselor Velahan was the first to speak. "This is impossible. Our intelligence reports showed that humanity had only primitive vessels. Where did these ships come from?" Dr. Amy Foster stepped forward. She had been studying alien technology for years, but she also understood the secrets of human engineering. That made their fleet superior. "Honored Council members," she said, "humanity has been preparing for this possibility since before first contact. We knew that peaceful coexistence might not be possible with all galactic civilizations. These ships were built using human innovation and creativity, not copied alien technology." Colonel Steve Blake was monitoring the conversation from the UES Vengeance. His ship's weapons were still locked onto the alien flagship, ready to fire if the situation turned hostile. The ship's AI Luna was analyzing every alien vessel in the system, finding weaknesses in their designs. Colonel Luna said privately, "I am detecting increased energy signatures from several alien ships. They may be preparing to fight. Understood? Prepare all weapons, but do not fire unless they attack first. We want to win this without starting a galactic war." Elder Morden of the Veilani spoke in his ancient voice. "Young humans, we have seen many species rise and fall across the millennia. Your ships show innovation that we have not encountered in thousands of years. How did you achieve such advancement in secret?" Chief Engineer Matt Crawford was monitoring the conversation from the underwater facility. He decided to answer the question honestly. "Elder Morden, humanity learned warfare through necessity over thousands of years on our homeworld. When we developed space travel, we applied those same principles to ship design. Our vessels are not built for beauty or efficiency like yours. They are built to win battles." The Nexari Queen buzzed her response through thousands of connected voices. The hive mind detects patterns in human technology that are chaotic and unpredictable. This should not be possible with advanced engineering principles. Captain Nina Ross smiled as she listened from the UES Retribution. Her ship was positioned directly above a cluster of Nexari vessels, and she could see their confusion as they tried to analyze human technology. "That is exactly the point," she said over the open channel. "Human engineering embraces chaos and unpredictability. Your species achieved order through technology. We achieved technology through controlled chaos. War Chief Grokamar of the Korthok was becoming increasingly angry. This is trickery and deception. No species develops such capabilities without others knowing. You have violated the sacred trust between council members. Commander Alex Turner was still operating the stealth ship U.S. Shadow, invisible to alien sensors. He had been gathering intelligence on council communications, and what he heard was interesting. Admiral Baker, he reported privately, I am intercepting messages between council ships. They are divided on how to respond. Zephyrians want to withdraw and study our technology. The Korthok want to fight. The Velani are curious about our methods. The Nexari are confused, and the Trilaxians are trying to find a diplomatic solution. Admiral Baker processed this information quickly. A divided enemy was a weak enemy. She decided to press their advantage. Council members, she said, humanity does not wish to threaten galactic peace. However, we will no longer accept treatment. As a junior species, we propose a new treaty that recognizes Earth as an equal partner in galactic affairs. Chancellor DePolin of the Trilaxians saw an opportunity for negotiation. What exactly are you proposing, Admiral Baker? Captain Torres stepped forward with a prepared document. First, immediate withdrawal of all council forces from human space. Second, recognition of human territorial claims in disputed border systems. Third, equal representation on the Galactic Council. Fourth, technology sharing agreements that benefit all species equally. High Counselor Velahan looked outraged. You cannot simply demand equal status because you have hidden ships. The Council has maintained galactic peace for 10,000 years. Dr. Amy Foster had been expecting this response. Counselor Velahan, with respect, the Council maintained peace through technological superiority and intimidation. Now that humanity has demonstrated comparable capabilities, the old system no longer works. Fleet Admiral Zektar was still trying to understand how his overwhelming advantage had become a desperate situation. His tactical officers were reporting that human ships were appearing in other star systems as well. Humanity had not just hidden one fleet. They had been preparing for galactic conflict on multiple fronts. Sir, his sensor officer reported, we are detecting human vessels near Zephyrian space, Korthok territory, and the Nexar home systems. They have ships positioned throughout Council space. War Chief Grokmar heard this report and roared in anger. This is an invasion. We must respond with full military force. Elder Morden spoke calmly. War Chief, look at your tactical displays. The human ships are in defensive positions, not attacking formations. They are demonstrating capability, not aggression. Commander Jake Morrison was still aboard the UES Defender, watching the negotiations unfold. The small ship was surrounded by the massive alien fleet, but now he felt confident instead of afraid. Admiral Baker, he said over the fleet communication system. The Council ships are powering down their weapon systems. I think they are realizing that fighting is not in their best interest. Captain Torres seized the moment. Council members, humanity offers you a choice. We can continue as we have for the past 15 years with constant tension and mistrust. Or we can build a new partnership based on mutual respect and shared strength. The 5 council leaders looked at each other through their communication screens. Each was calculating the costs of war versus the benefits of peace. The human fleet had appeared from nowhere and surrounded their forces without firing a shot. What other surprises might humanity have prepared? High Counselor Velahan spoke first. We will need time to consider your proposals. Of course, Admiral, Baker replied. But we will need a decision within 48 hours. Guess. And during that time, we expect all Council forces to withdraw to neutral space. The communication screens went dark as the Council leaders ended the call to discuss their options privately. Throughout the solar system, the human fleet maintained their positions around the alien vessels, waiting to see if their gamble would pay off. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted in a single moment, and everyone knew that things would never be the same again. 6 months had passed since the standoff in Earth's solar system, and the galaxy was a very different place. Captain Nina Ross stood on the observation deck of the new Galactic Defense Station and watched human and alien ships working together. In space, It still seemed strange to see Korthok warriors taking orders from human officers. But the new alliance was working better than anyone had expected. The Treaty of New Horizons had been signed 3 months ago in a ceremony that changed galactic history. Instead of being the junior members of an alien council, humans were now founding partners in a new galactic government. The old council had been dissolved, replaced by an organization where all species had equal voices. Admiral Baker walked onto the observation deck carrying a datapad full of reports. She looked tired but satisfied. Building a new galactic government was hard work, but it was better than the constant tension of the old system. "How are the integration programs going?" Nina asked. "Better than expected," Lisa replied. "The mixed crews are learning to work together faster than our psychologists predicted. Turns out that respect is a powerful motivator for cooperation." The integration programs had been Nina's idea. Instead of keeping human and alien fleets separate, they were creating mixed crews on new ships that combined the best technology from all species. Human tactical thinking mixed with Zephyrian engineering and Veilani wisdom was producing remarkable results. Commander Alex Turner was in the communications center, receiving reports from exploration fleets throughout the galaxy. His stealth ship UAS Shadow had been converted into a mobile command center for the new Galactic Defense Force. The old borders between species territories were being redrawn based on cooperation instead of intimidation. "Admiral," he reported, "over the communication system, the Joint Expedition to the Outer Rim has discovered 3 new intelligent species. They seem peaceful, but we are maintaining standard first contact protocols." The discovery of new species had become routine since the formation of the Galactic Defense Force, with human ships providing security and alien technology enabling faster exploration. They were finding new civilizations every month. Most importantly, they were approaching these species as equals instead of potential subjects. President Helen Parker was in her office on Earth, reading reports from human colonies throughout the galaxy. The revelation of the secret fleet had caused some controversy. At first, many people were angry that such a massive project had been kept secret for decades. But as the benefits became clear, public opinion had shifted to support. She activated her communication screen and connected with Admiral Baker. "Lisa, I just received the latest approval ratings. 87% of Earth's population supports the new galactic government. The colonial worlds are even higher." "That is good news, Madame President. What about the other species?" "The polls are encouraging. The Zephyrians are adapting well to shared leadership. The Veilani say this reminds them of the old days when different species worked together more often. Even the Korthok are starting to appreciate having worthy partners instead of subjects to rule over." Colonel Steve Blake was aboard the UES Vengeance, now serving as the flagship of the combined fleet. His ship had been modified with technology from all 5 species, making it more powerful than anything that had existed before the Alliance. The ship's AI Luna had been upgraded with knowledge from alien computer systems, giving her capabilities that amazed even her human creators. "Luna, what is our current operational status?" Steve asked. "All systems are functioning at peak efficiency, Colonel. The integration of Zephyrian shield technology with human armor has increased our defensive capabilities by 300%. The Veilani navigation systems have improved our jump accuracy by 95%. Even the Nexari hive mind communication protocols are enhancing our coordination with fleet elements." Steve smiled. The old human fleet had been powerful, but the new combined technology was almost unstoppable. More importantly, it represented something that had never existed in the galaxy before: true cooperation between species. Dr. Amy Foster was in her laboratory studying artifacts from newly discovered civilizations. Her work had changed dramatically since the formation of the Alliance. Instead of studying alien technology to understand potential enemies, she was now learning from friendly partners to benefit all species. Chief Engineer Matt Crawford worked beside her, designing new ship classes that incorporated the best ideas from human and alien engineering. The old secret facilities beneath Earth's oceans had been converted into research centers, where scientists from all species worked together. Matt said excitedly, "Look at these power readings. By combining human fusion technology with Zephyrian energy crystals, we can increase engine output by 400% while reducing fuel consumption. That would revolutionize space travel, Amy replied. Ships could reach distant galaxies that were previously impossible to explore. Captain Ryan Torres was in the new Diplomatic Corps' headquarters, training the next generation of galactic ambassadors. His success in negotiating the Treaty of New Horizons had made him the most respected diplomat in known space. Now he was teaching others how to build bridges between different species. Remember, he told his students, "Diplomacy is not about getting what you want. It is about finding what everyone needs." The old council failed because they focused on control instead of cooperation. His students included humans, Zephyrians, Korthok Villani, Nexari, and Trilaxians, all learning together. They would be the ambassadors who made first contact with new species as the galaxy continued to expand, Commander Jake. Morrison had been promoted to admiral and given command of the exploration division. His job was to lead expeditions into unknown regions of space, searching for new civilizations and potential threats. The discovery of humanity's hidden fleet had made everyone realize that other species might have secrets too. Admiral Morrison to all exploration vessels, he announced over the fleet communication system. Remember that we represent not just humanity, but all the species of the Galactic Alliance. Our mission is to explore, understand, and protect. The exploration fleets were now composed of ships from all species, mixed crews that brought different perspectives to every mission. Human curiosity combined with Valeni wisdom and Zephyrian technology was opening up parts of the galaxy that had never been explored before. Fleet Admiral Zektar, who had once commanded the force sent to conquer humanity, was now serving as a strategic advisor to the combined fleet. The humiliation of that failed mission had taught him valuable lessons about underestimating other species. Now he used that experience to help prevent similar mistakes. "The humans taught us something important," he told a gathering of military officers from all species. "Strength comes not from the size of your fleet, but from the courage to prepare for what others think is impossible." The old alien territories were being reorganized into regions where all species could live and work together. Trade was flourishing as each species shared their unique technologies and knowledge. The galaxy was becoming more prosperous and peaceful than it had been in thousands of years. Elder Morden of the Veilani had become something of a historian for the new alliance. He spent his time documenting how the galaxy had changed and what lessons could be learned for the future. "In all my millennia of life," he wrote in his latest report, "I have never seen such rapid positive change. The humans showed us that sometimes you must be prepared for war to achieve lasting peace. Their hidden fleet was not a weapon of conquest, but a shield that protected the possibility of true cooperation." President Parker stood at the window of her office, looking up at the stars. Somewhere out there, human ships were working alongside alien vessels to explore new worlds and protect peaceful civilizations. The species that had once been treated like children were now respected partners in the greatest alliance the galaxy had ever known. The warships that time forgot had not brought war to the galaxy. Instead, they had brought something far more powerful: the respect that made true peace possible. And in the vast darkness of space, that peace was spreading to every corner of the known universe. Carried by crews who understood that strength and wisdom together could accomplish what neither could achieve alone, the galaxy was finally ready for whatever challenges the future might bring.